My name is Dr. Bruce Shields. I'm an Associate Professor of Education teaching at Daemen College. I have been asked by the Learning Center to record a video about a very important part of an APA-style research paper. This video will describe and show the 3 ways to cite in APA. APA stands for the American Psychological Association. Many disciplines use the APA writing style, which includes education, psychology, nursing, and several others. Learning how to use the APA writing style will be beneficial to you at both the undergraduate and graduate level, so having this skill set will be invaluable to you for a long time in your scholastic career. The 3 ways to cite in APA style include paraphrasing, short quotes, and block quotes. Each will be described and shown to you throughout this video. I will also invite you to visit my website that has actual APA-style research papers written by my former students so you can garner a deeper understanding of the 3 ways to cite in APA style. I will also point to one particular paper on my website to show you examples of the 3 ways to cite in APA style from the actual source documents that were secured in the research of her topic. My website can be found from Daemen College's homepage. In the upper right-hand side of the homepage, you will see a box with the word search after it. Put my name there, Shields, S-H-I-E-L-D-S, then click on the magnifying glass icon. Once the search results appear, click on the link that says Education Department Faculty, and then scroll down to my name and profile, and under my picture you will find the word website. Click on that and you will be taken there. Now you want to click on the link that says APA 6th edition. There you will find links to 3 exemplar papers from my former students. You can access their paper by clicking on their name and you will be taken to a PDF file that contains their actual paper that they handed in to me as part of their undergraduate education classes. The paper I will be referring to in this video was written by Kristen Lewicki, and the subject she wrote about was standardized testing. However, you may view to any of the papers to see what an APA paper looks like, and all 3 papers have paraphrasing, short quotes, and block quotes you can refer to as well. The first way of citing an APA style is called paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is defined as putting the words of other authors into your own words. You will need the author's last names and the year, but not the page or paragraph number. In paraphrasing, you will almost always put the author's names at the end of a paraphrase sentence. There are no quotation marks and a paraphrase is not indented. Most of your APA-style research papers should be in the paraphrased format. For an example of a paraphrase, go to page 7 of the Lewicki paper and look at the paragraph at the bottom of the page, and then locate the second sentence. It reads, quote, "Students from higher socioeconomic statuses have more relevant background knowledge gained from experiences at home and in the community that allow these students to correctly answer questions related to those experiences on standardized tests," unquote. You will see that this sentence ends with the author, Popham, and the year 2011. Now I will refer you to page 371 of Popham's book titled Classroom Assessment, What Teachers Need to Know, 6th edition. Look at the next to last paragraph and you will find what Popham wrote about SES, socioeconomic status levels of children, and relating this to answering questions on standardized tests. The second way to cite an APA style is known as the short quote. A short quote means that you are taking the exact words from an author or authors and putting them into your own research paper. A short quote is comprised of 40 words or less. You will need the author or author's names, the year of the publication, and the page number or paragraph number if you are citing from a website. A short quote is not indented and you will need quotation marks. Do not short quote 1 to 2 to 3 word phrases unless they are particularly important to your paper. If so, only use very short phrases once in your paper. Short quotes would be the second most frequent way to cite in your APA-style research paper. An example of a short quote can be found in the Lewicki paper, which is on my website. The short quote begins at the bottom of page 5 and continues to the top of page 6. The direct quote states the following. As Fair Test 2007A explains, quote, "Students who are retained do not improve academically, are emotionally damaged by retention, suffer a loss of interest in school and self-esteem, and are more likely to drop out of school, unquote, paragraph 8. This particular example is from a website, which means you will have to count the number of paragraphs to where the direct quote is located. If you were to direct quote from an article or a book, you would use the page number for those sources. Lewicki's short quote, as I said, is from a website. Since there was no author, she chose to name and frame the author as Fair Test. Now I will refer you to the website page, and when you count down 8 full paragraphs, you will find the direct quote she used in her paper about issues with student retention. The third way to cite an APA is known as a block quote. I have also heard this referred to as a long quote. The block quote, just as with the short quote, means that you are taking the exact words from an author or authors and putting them into your research paper. There are several very important differences from the block quote as compared to the short quote. The block quote has 40 words or more. You will need the author's name and the year of the publication in the setup sentence to the block quote. The block quote is indented, and there is no period after the page number if the source document is a book or journal article. If you're using a website for a direct quote, just as with the short quote, you will need to count paragraphs and use that number in the block quote. The first sentence after the block quote is not indented. Also, the first sentence after the block quote should not be a direct quote. That is, do not go from one direct quote to another. I strongly suggest that this sentence be a transition sentence to the next topic you will cover in your research paper. Depending upon how long your research paper is, you should have 2 to 3 block quotes in your research paper. An example of a block quote can be found in the Lewicki paper, which is on my website. In the middle of page 9. This particular block quote is from a book written by Nichols and Berliner, titled Collateral Damage: How High-Stakes Testing Corrupts America's Schools. The book was published in 2008. The setup sentence and the direct quote are as follows. Nichols and Berliner, 2008, explain, however, that even this aspect of classroom instruction is lacking. No longer are we measuring real-world math or reading skills. Instead, it becomes a test of how well students memorized math content or how adept students are at filling in the test booklet bubbles. In these instances, it isn't content mastery that matters, but how well or efficiently students can memorize information that is rewarded. I refer you to page 122 of their text, and you will find those exact words toward the end of the last paragraph. You will notice that this quote is 55 words in length, well over the required 40 words needed for a block quote. I would like to point out to you how the period is before the parentheses with the page number in it. Finally, notice the first sentence after the block quote. It is not indented and has a paraphrase which works very well to transitioning to the next topic of her paper. Final thoughts. Writing an APA-style research paper does take some researching prowess and tenacity, some very good writing and editing skills, and will take you more time and more research than you think. One of the major flaws of my students have with a research paper is that they wait too long to get started. Students have told me that they work better under pressure, but the results I have seen over the years almost always produces a substandard paper with an appropriate lower grade than to what they were anticipating. So my very strong advice to you is to work on the paper almost every day. The Learning Center at Daemen has writing coaches who can help with you getting started, picking a topic, setting deadlines, and aiding with grammar, sentence structure, and the like. All of the writing coaches are students just like you, so you need to make appointments with them well before the due date for your research papers. Remember, it is more difficult to create than it is to edit. Editing means that you have something substantial written, which suggests you have something to work with. Just don't delay your research paper. Most classes that have APA-style research paper assignments typically count for a lot of points toward your final grade. You need to take this very seriously. Another major issue is that my students rely on APA websites and websites that offer references in APA styles and will not purchase the APA publication manual. Please don't do that. More frequently than I like to see is that these websites often cite references incorrectly, but they claim that they are in APA. The APA publication manual is the Bible for APA papers, and you need to ensure that your citations conform to APA. So get the book. It is under $30, and you will be using it often as you write research papers in your undergraduate and graduate classes, so it is money well spent. Finally, although I am very pleased to offer this video as a way to learn about the 3 ways to cite in APA style, it is no substitute for the work and research that you need to do on your own research paper. Good luck and hit the library.